Hey Pisces, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. I'm going to split the deck, a new deck by the way. I'm very excited about it. And from the bottom of the deck we have Death. Get a good look at that. Transformation, inner transformation usually. Almost get like a fall vibe here. Changes. Yeah, like changing form, like, transitions and changes and things, maybe a very quick change. Needing to change your goals, needing to change your expectations of yourself. Yeah, this one looks like a pretty quick change here. A shift that happens more quickly than expected. Might be very surprising, but it's you. It's you that's changing. It's not your environment. That's the Tower. It's you that is like going through a pretty big shift here. So I should also say, so these you can check your sun, moon, rising here, and then over on Vimeo I'm doing I-Ching readings, and I'm having a very good time. The I-Ching and I go back 20 years. And it's really fun for me anyway. I hope it's fun for you too. I'm gonna bring the I-Ching over here onto YouTube. And then I'm combining that with some Oracle deck cards. So if you're interested, the link will be in the description box. Anyway, they're pretty good. I'm excited about it, it's fun. Okay, past, present, inner landscape. What's the issue? All right, that was weird, but okay. Your environment, to-do list, and possible outcome. Okay, I like these cards because they're very absorbing. There's a lot happening in them, but they're almost too absorbing, and I'm likely to just forget I'm even recording, or I want to say you're even here. Forget you're even here and just get really absorbed by what's going on here. In your recent past, we have 9 of Pentacles. So basically that's like happy success. You did something cool. This is our Empress in Waiting. Here is the card. Yeah, she grew her flowers here. This is interesting too, because these flowers seem almost intuitive. Like there's something intuitive about what you've grown, but this is real world success. You've been successful. You accomplished something in the past. You have accomplished something in the past. Was it everything you want to accomplish? Did you make it to the pinnacle of where you wanted to go with this project or this thing? No, you didn't. You didn't. But you got to a certain level. You've achieved a certain level of success. Very feminine energy, female. I mean, this is our Widow Clicquot card. This is female entrepreneurship. You have reached a certain level of success. Productivity. You've cleared your own path. You were committed and devoted to something, and here you are. You have already had some level of success. This is the type of success where it's like, yeah, keep going. Like you grew the grapes, you did a really good job. Now we have to take the grapes and turn them into wine and bottle them and age them and all that. But this is like good success, a solid foundation. Like these sunflowers, yeah, we got to take the seeds off of them, and maybe we'll replant some and we'll move forward with others. But this is a very good harvest. Good job, Pisces. In your current situation, we have Queen of Swords. We have someone with some truth. So the Queen of Swords, this might be you. You might have some truth, some knowledge. The Queen of Swords is a little bit of a bitch, honestly. She's like not very careful with her words. She's a bit direct. She knows what she thinks. She does not care what you think, and there's a time for that. So maybe that's the time for this. They don't care what the other person thinks. They don't care how it's received. They're going to speak. This one looks a little bit sinister. Maybe she clouds her, or this person, male or female, there's a bit of a dark side to her truth. Yes, it's the truth. Yes, it's out there, it's sunny, but there's also a bit of a dark side, maybe some ulterior motives occasionally coming in when they speak. This could be you. It can be like, well, I'm just telling the truth, kind of vibe. This person can be a little not careful with their words. And like, what's that about? Like, are they not careful with their words because they just like are unaware of how they're coming across? Or is there a little bit of jealousy, or a little bit of, there's a bite to these words? So where's that bite coming from? Does it matter where the bite's coming from? Does this person intend to be hurtful? Or are they just like very focused on being clear and they just don't have time for other things? Or is there some sort of ulterior motive? Is there a sense of wanting to also cut down? Well, I'm just being honest. That's the phrase that keeps, I'm just being honest. I just want to bring some clarity to the situation. Is that all? I think the way this person's communicating does raise questions in other people's minds about if they just want to help, or just want to be honest, or just there's something questionable here about a communication that's being cloaked in some sort of honesty, or being intellectual about something, or being really logical about something. I'm just being logical, and there's at least a pretty good, so someone's questioning. So whether you're the one that's just being logical, just telling it like it is, and people are like, are you really? What's your motivation here? Because something about this is actually really hurtful. So just watching for that, I guess, either in someone you're working with, you'll have questions about, or someone you'll have questions about their motivation for being honest, or being brutally honest, right? Because if we're being honest, we don't have to add the brutality, right? The truth is the truth, and we can there doesn't need to be any brutality to it. So this is like a double-edged sword working with this person, or having a relationship with this person. It's a double-edged sword, because there's one part where, well, you're always going to know where you stand, and there's another part of like, but does it have to be quite so undercutting? What's up with that? So your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape. We have the King of Swords. There's quite a few swords here, so we could be talking about communication. We could be talking about reasoning and logic. Here's the King of Swords. You may be looking, so this is your hopes, your fears, what you're thinking about, what you're wanting. The King of Swords isn't someone to fear, though. The Queen of Swords is someone who's a little bit terrifying, at least for me to deal with. But the King of Swords, they have a lot of experience. They've seen a lot. They've seen a lot of situations. They're fair. They're much more fair. They have understanding of extenuating circumstances. King of Swords could be a lawyer that you want to consult. They can be a judge. Anybody that's working, they can be a writer. Anyone that's working with communication and is sort of working at the top of their game. Someone that, well, they're not necessarily working at the top of their game in a capitalist society, because those are not, being smart and being successful in this society are not the same thing at all. But this person, this could be someone that you want to embody. Maybe you are the Queen of Swords, and you're wanting to be like more fair, better in your communication, gentler in your communication, able to understand extenuating circumstances, right? The King of Swords is someone who understands that how you communicate something is almost as important as what you're communicating. And if you communicate in a way that has people putting barriers up before they talk to you, then you're really not communicating very much or very well, right? This one communicates in a way where people can hear it. This one communicates in a way where it might be a little bit too blunt, and people can't hear you when first they have to like deal with a bunch of hurt and pain and suffering and get that all out of the way. And now they can take, the meat of what you were saying. It's just too much of a process. Some people can do that and some people just can't. Just the hurt and the brutal honesty is just creates a barrier to them actually hearing what someone's actually saying. So the king comes in here, and this is something that you're fantasizing about. You want this. You would like someone to be a little better about communicating, a little gentler about communicating. Maybe it's you, maybe it's somebody else. I do like that we have the Queen and King of Swords here, because both of these are very intellectual people. They do like to communicate, but I honestly don't see how the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords could like get along. Because the Queen of Swords is just too brutal, and the King of Swords, he can get along with anybody. That this person can get along with anybody. So maybe you're looking for more of that energy of wanting to be able to get along with anybody, even this Queen of Swords. But I don't think this Queen of Swords can be so destructive that I don't know that a King of Swords, I mean, supposedly they're supposed to be together, but just how I'm seeing it, I don't see that the King of Swords would see the Queen of Swords as an asset to their endeavor. But maybe they might like it. Like some people like, you know, the partner with a little bit more bite. They can get the, you know, refund from the hotel for, you know, a bad night's rest. You know, the Queen of Swords can accomplish quite a bit and get quite a bit done, being a little more combative and direct. So the King of Swords may have enlisted the Queen of Swords to fight a battle for them that they, well, that's true too. Like oftentimes people in power situations will send someone to do their dirty work for them. So you may have dealt with a Queen of Swords who came off as a little bitchy, but behind that may have actually been the King of Swords who was like, I can't appear bitchy, I need you to go appear bitchy, or something like that. So anyway, and then this one, for some reason my hand just did not work when I was pulling this out. So we have this in the upright. What's at issue here is Queen of Pentacles. So this is another person. So we have 3 people here. But this person, male or female, I'm going to use the female pronouns. You kind of wish I had a language without, or you didn't have to pick a gender before you started talking about something, or like decide, like, it's just kind of frustrating. So anyway, I mean, it could be worse. English isn't the worst language for gendering everything, but Queen of Pentacles, person looking for their next step. So this could be about, well, there's more pentacles here, so this could be about career, right? This 9 of Pentacles, you haven't made it all the way. This Queen of Pentacles is someone who's very ambitious, who wants to get to the next level, the next run. They're thinking about their future. They are planning for their future. They would like something to show for their efforts. They're definitely looking to the future, to the next steps. We have maybe fertility here, looking at fertility. There's a sense of newness here. There's also a sense of, this Queen of Pentacles is a bit of a show off. But this is like how they get to the next level. But they definitely have their eye on a prize here. They're willing to go slow and steady, wins the race here. But they're using their past, this Queen of Pentacles is using her past activities to position themselves for future activities. The Queen of Pentacles is all about someone who's positioning themselves for a new level. They're planning out, they're figuring it out. They're working on their career. Like the kings are general and the queens are, it's about me and what I want. So there's someone here who's thinking about the next levels of their career, or of some sort of physical part of their life. They're thinking about, how do I capitalize on what I've got? So we've got this 9 of Pentacles. How do I capitalize on what I've done and what I've got for the next steps? How do I move up and move ahead, get more capital, get more, get better? Like the Pentacles also can deal with health issues and stuff like that. So there's someone that's looking to, they're planning out the next part of their career or their health or their something in the physical world. They're planning out some sort of physical next move. Current situation, we have 4 of Swords. So the external situation, there's like a pause or a break. There could be someone very ambitious here that is that's been put on ice for a little bit. This always reminds me of like layoffs, nap time, rest and recovery time. So if these pentacles are indicating some sort of health issue, this person's there's some sort of break, but it's coming in the environment. It's coming external to, it's not like a chosen selected I'm going on vacation break, because this is showing up in it could be a vacation, but because this is showing up in this environment, it is like external. It's not, it might have been chosen, but it's like once it's chosen, it's here. It's not just a whim. It's a very, very important, maybe it's a mental health break. Maybe it's a rest from something, a break from something. So maybe they're taking a break from a Queen of Swords. Ooh. So because it's in the environment, it does look like an external break. Like there's something for rest, recovery, recuperation, or just like a health-induced break, or a I mean, it might be chosen, but it might not be. There's almost a sense of like something plummeting to earth. Something plummeting to earth. Someone that's been very busy. But there is, again, we have this death card, so this could be like a change of course. Like there's some sort of break, or somebody went on a vacation and they had these realizations. Like sometimes when people come back from vacation, they're like, I don't want this job anymore. I hate this job. Or they, go on a solo trip or trip with their girlfriends, and they come back and they're like, what am I doing with this chump? My life was so great when I was away from this person, and now I come back and I have to, clean up after them, clean up their mess, and this is why do I need this? Like there might be a break, there might have been a break, and then somebody comes back from the break with a new perspective. So that perspective may be great, like I love this, or that perspective could be awful, or like this is not what I want. So there, and since we are talking like overall change, you're changing. You may need to change your communication style to get to the next level that you want. That may be part of this change. It's having to change the way you communicate to get to your next level. And there's something about a break. Like it's like you reach a certain level, and then there's like and now we pause here, or you need to rest and recuperate, reacclimate. So there's an imposed break. This came in a lot in early COVID days, layoffs, all that stuff like coming in. So it's possible it could be something like that, or it could just be a personal break that someone's taking. And then your to-do list is the moon. I think this has got to be my favorite card so far. The moon here, the moon is talking about illusion, fears, what you can see, what you can't see. If you're being the moon, I would say that it's okay to conceal something. Keep something hidden for now. It's okay to be a little secretive. You don't have to reveal everything. You also may need to sort out intuition from fears. That can be hard once the fears get into the intuition aspect. It's all can get really jumbled in there. That's why you don't want to do tarot reading when you're in like a heightened state of fear, because it messes with your mind and all the cards come out a certain way. It can be very difficult. So yeah, there's what can be seen and what can't be seen. And you're doing it. You're revealing some things but keeping some things back. I think you're being very smart about something. This Queen of Swords, you may have to deal with some fears related to something someone said to you that maybe were very direct. This could be like, what part of what they said to you, what part of that is your fears coming in and using that as your fears as an interpretive tool for what was said and how it was said? Like, what part of that is what you understood from some conversation was your own insecurities that you projected onto the situation, and what part of that was what they were actually saying? Like, this is a little bit of like, write out the actual words and then understand what you interpreted those words are as, and understand how that has affected you. Because it seems to me with this card coming out that there might be a discrepancy between how you interpreted something and how it was intended. And sometimes that can come after a conversation where you're like, wait, what did they mean by that? Where in the conversation it feels good, it feels fun, and then later you're like, what did they mean by that? Oh my gosh. So this can be getting up a little in your head, but let's get up in your head in the right ways, in the ways where we're clearing up misinterpretations, or just making sure that we're not going off on a tangent or going off the deep end on something. Without reason, right? So checking your assumptions, checking your interpretations of things, just doing a good. And with this Queen of Swords, right, sometimes this can be like just wanting to be very logical and very clear, right? She's living in this dichotomy. She's clear, but also what's the motivation here? And so I think you need to parse out either within yourself what your own motivation is for saying something or having said something, or what clearing up is some sort of conversation with someone or something like that about what they meant and what was intended. And acknowledging that you might have seen sinister things where there weren't sinister things, or that like did you say something that has some sort of, looking at your own self, looking at your own shadows, and trying to understand them. Like this, we have a wild dog here, right? This wild, untamable thing. And this, we have these two dogs. They're all dressed up fancy, and they look like they're ready for civilization. But there might have been some actually very uncivilized, I want to say like primitive emotion behind some sort of communication. And you either need you basically need to look at yourself, and either if it was something someone said to you, you need to like get more clarity on what's your stuff, what's their stuff. And if it's something you said, you need to like be looking more inward about like why did you say that? What's behind that? What happened there within you that caused you to say this thing that, yeah, you can say it's just the truth, but you can also be like, why did you say it like that? And did it need to be said? Was it important to be said? So there's something about that where you need to do some examination. So both of those, whether it's something you said or something someone else said, it's all internal work about what's really going on inside you. So dealing with your shadow self, which we all have, and we all are annoyed by our own shadows and our own issues that come up again and again. So there might be something that you feel a lot of shame about, and it's you have to approach that with unconditional love, basically. So committing to unconditionally loving yourself, and there you're going to see your shadows and your issues and dealing with that. Possible outcomes: strength. Have some patience with yourself. We've all got, again, we're talking about the beast within, the wildness within, the untamable parts of ourselves. And it's an eternal negotiation with our wildest self and our tamed self. So I see like 3 cards here. I think you want to be more tamed and more civilized. I don't know that's a bad word, but more self-contained and self-controlled. I think civilized, like the term I'm trying to get at, actually like more like primitive groups actually have more civilized behavior because their survival is very much about the interconnectedness of each person. So like more primitive groups, their gender roles aren't quite as extreme as ours. They all are capable of pulling out. I mean, it's like generally the women do this and the men do this, but at any point anyone can fit into any of the roles, just because the groups were smaller, and they needed everybody to be able to at least know the basics of someone else's role in case they have to jump in to something like that. So there might have been general ideas of division of labor, but there was no like hierarchy of labor. All the labor was needed and necessary. So I guess where I'm going with this is, so there's something about genders, I guess, and like, I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, that's where we went. So this constant eternal negotiation with ourselves and our own inner demons is what it looks like. And just have patience with yourself. Stay strong. There's nothing here about quitting. There's nothing here about moving on. There's actually not any action here. In fact, this whole bottom row is taking a break, self-examination, patience with yourself. We've got a lot of people here, a lot of different personalities and motivations coming together, and then just no movement, right? And this death card is this change, and I think it's coming from a lot of self-examination, maybe about you interpreting what someone else said, or someone else interpreting something you said, you know. So that sounds like a interesting week. A lot of self-examination is literally just asking yourself the best questions. Once you hit the right question, a lot unfolds very naturally. Sometimes the best question is, what do you want, or what would it look like if you got what you wanted? Standing Stones passage. This might be a little difficult. There are some immovable elements here, things you can't change, and you have to work your way through them. This can be a little bit of a scary passage, right? It's a passage. You're going through something. You're going through a big change. It might trigger a lot of fears. You have to keep going, though. You can't turn around. You can't quit this like path that you're on. It's changing you, and you may wish that it wasn't, right? Because our egos want status quo all the time. They like where we're at, do not change anything. So this sort of inner reflection, I mean, with the death card, right? That was what came out. This is all an inner change. So it changes you, stick with it. You'll always have this battle, though. It's never gonna be like, oh, that battle's done, moving on with my life. But you are going through something right now. You're definitely going through something, and this is highlighted. I think this is all here to tell you to be patient with yourself, that we all have to deal with this stuff, and that it's an internal process, and that you'll never be completed. This work isn't completed, but there is a passage. It is this death card here. There is a passage going on. There is a change going on, and it's within. So Pisces, you got an interchange going on here. Sounds like a lot of fun. So join me over on Vimeo. I'm going to continue this sort of storyline with an I-Ching reading. We'll see where we end up. Pretty fun, but we'll talk later. Oh, this was the longest one. This deck really absorbed me. I told you it was going to be that. So ciao.